And do you wonder why you never get a result? So, in this week's episode of Conversations with an Investor, we go into why people fail when they set themselves a challenge. Now, this came about because I'm building something behind the scenes. We're going to build a community, and this community is going to be a temple, a place where if you feel that you've got more in you, if you feel that you've got a bit more potential and you feel a little bit stuck, this is going to be the temple where it's we're going to go and squeeze that out of you. We're going to go looking. We're going to find out how much you've got in there. But part of the process of building a community is you've got to ask yourself some questions about why. Because let's face it, let's be honest, there's lots of self-help books, there's lots of self-help courses, there's lots of self-help, DVDs and audio and visual and YouTube and unlimited playlists. And when it came to speaking about this sort of stuff, I was initially a bit hesitant about it, mainly because when you look at these things out there, you know, they're in an industry and they sort of serve lots of different purposes, because people are varied at where they're at in their life. Maybe they're starting out, they've got a new adventure that they want to, achieve. Maybe they've got no experience, and you've got other people at the other end of the scale where, they've lived a lot in their life and they have a huge amount of experience, but somehow have got stuck. So you see a wide variety of people that come across the path where they think, I want to develop myself, and they'll look at that self-help industry. And then you look at the other part, which is the community, where there's a lot of this sort of basis of, geeing people up and motivating them. But the hardcore principles and foundations aren't either visible or maybe are a little weak. And I think there's something missing. And when we were trying to figure out, we were writing out some of the things that I've seen in my experience where what's the reason that this fails? Why is it so many people get to the point where they slip up? And I narrowed it down to two things, because it doesn't matter which part of the spectrum that you're at. It doesn't matter if you're starting out. It doesn't matter if you've got lifetime experience under your belt. It's plain and simple. There's two reasons that it fails. Now, I'll preface it with, in this day and age, there's lots of victimhood mentality, my trauma, my stress, my struggle, yada, 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 yada. The reality is nobody cares. Nobody, when the chips are down and, the facades are down, no one cares. No one cares about your story. No one cares, how much trauma it had on you. Even yourself, deep in yourself, that really it doesn't matter that much to you. That's a controversial statement, but the reality is everything points to that, because what people truly like to see is, how did you endure? I'll give you an example. Take the Rocky movies. Timeless classics. What's the story that's being told? Not that he was down and he was out and that it was his traumas or his scars or his wounds. It was how hard he came back. He looked into himself and found that he had a little bit more. Imagine doing that for you. Imagine what that would be like. Imagine that you looked at yourself and you says, look, I'm prepared to trade all of these experiences and all this trauma and all this, excuses and reasons and justification. I'll trade it for, would I trade it for that potential? The potential of the better me. I've got news for you. The future you relies on you making that trade. Literally, the future version of yourself needs you to make that trade. Because if you don't, the future you isn't going to like it. And that's got spin-offs for your family, your mum and dad, your brother and sister, your kids if you've got them. Like, people are wanting you to get the best out of yourself, and you should want the best from yourself as well. So what causes that failure to happen? Right? What's the other part of, right, okay, you're down and out. You've been knocked down. Circumstances haven't been great. You've maybe played yourself into a corner with the victim card. You've maybe got caught up in the inaction. You've maybe beat yourself into a corner that you think you've not got any self-worth. You might have decided that you're just better not trying at all. Well, what if there was 2 simple things that you could institute in your life that would make a difference? What if it was that simple? What if you could measure these changes in you over a very short period of time to see if they work? What if those results were so surprising and caught you off guard that you could not believe it was that straightforward? What would you think? Because it's only 2 things. These 2 things are the things that cause people to fail when they try something. And if you can even attempt, you don't need to be 100% perfect. Even if you get half the way there, or 3/4 of the way there, you're going to see such a significant difference. You're going to be shell-shocked that you can't believe it was that simple. Now here's the caveat, here's the trick, here's the small print. These are very, 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 very simple, but they're hard to do. They're hard because they require the thing that you have lapsed in before. They require the thing that the weak point in your system to fail. They require you to not do it again. They require you to stop before the failure. They require you to have the strength, the internal strength to say, hey, look, I'm going to push on. So these 2 things are ownership and consistency. And I'm going to tell you about each of them and why they're important. So ownership is that every decision that you have made in your life starts in here, starts inside your mind. And everything that you've got outside your life is a lagging indicator of what those thoughts are. Meaning that all these, if you're rich or poor, or you're in the best job in the world or the worst job in the world, or you've got the best friends or the worst friends, or you drink too much, or you party too hard, or you don't get to the gym, or you're out of shape, you're fat, you're thin, you've got great relationships, you've got bad relationships, you've got loads of friends, you've got no friends, they're all lagging indicators of what your thoughts were. That in itself can be a difficult pill to swallow, because the reality is you'll have an initial feeling which is, I want to cop out of this. It wasn't me, it was somebody else. It was that situation or this situation, or something took place and it wasn't me. That's your initial instinct. But look hard enough and you realise that there's been plenty of opportunities for you to improve. There was plenty of opportunities that you could have made a better choice, and there was lots of opportunities where you maybe have seen the situation that was about to unfold and you didn't move out the way and you just let circumstances get the better of you. That can be a difficult pill to swallow, particularly if your life isn't where you want it to be right now. That's a tricky situation.